Today on the LA Food Podcast, it's the most wonderful time of the year, dear listener, the time when the James Beard Foundation drops its Media Award nominees and conveniently forgets to include us in them. Oh well, there's always next year, as Arsenal fans are destined to say in a couple weeks' time. In all seriousness, LA reporters kind of crushed this year's James Beard media noms. A lot of familiar names in there, especially from the storied Los Angeles Times. Father Saul's with me to dive into why LA seems to have a stranglehold on these awards, at least at the nomination level, which is even more delicious considering the fact that our evil step-siblings at the New York Times walked away with a whopping 0 nominations in 2026. What gives? Listen to find out. In Recent Eats, we recap meals at a brand new Roman-style pizza shop in Hollywood, the 10-year anniversary of one of LA's most notorious celebrity hotspots, and an airport restaurant that just might be the greatest to ever do it, at least within 30 feet of a runway. In Chef's Kiss Big Miss, there's Enrique Olvera's latest LA venture, maybe the most anticipated pop-up to ever hit the streets, coming to Salazar this Monday, and a weird situation at New York's Minetta Tavern that I couldn't wait to pick Saul's brain on. Finally, I have a major announcement on some progress I've made towards one of my New Year's resolutions, and it's a resolution that I hope you'll support me with, dear listener. Listen to find out how you can help. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is part of the Acquired Taste Media Network. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, Taqueando with Bill Esparza. This week, Bill interviewed Chef Jonathan Gomez Luna of Le Chic, what he's calling the most ambitious tasting menu in Mexico. That's available wherever podcasts are streaming. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chat down. This episode of the LA Food Podcast is presented by our friends at MVA.wine. I recently sat down with Laurent Verns, the founder of MVA.wine, and my first reaction was, wait, why isn't everyone doing wine like this? They treat wine the way we treat food on this show. It's all about discovery, not the obvious places, the tiny producers, the bottles you only find when someone points you in the right direction. Here's how it works. They gather at a farmhouse in Tuscany and blind taste 50 to 60 wines. Every bottle has to get a unanimous yes, and only 6 make the cut. Oh, and every time they go to Tuscany for those tastings, they bring 2 members along, all expenses paid. That could be you, dear listener. The wines that make it come from incredible producers whose bottles rarely leave their region, wines you simply can't find in stores in LA or anywhere else. Membership at MVA Wine is capped at 600 people, so be sure to go snag a coveted spot as soon as you can, dear listener. To do so, go to mva.wine/subscribe. That's mva.wine/subscribe. You'll thank me later. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a man who asked me not to talk about sports when I'm welcoming to the podcast. So instead, I'm going to give you the option, Father Saul. Would you rather I asked you about the LA mayoral debate or about the Met Gala?
Met Gala.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. And because I actually have no good questions regarding the Met Gala, I'm actually going to ask you this. Do you remember what my New Year's resolution was?
For this year?
Yeah, I had a couple, but do you remember? One loomed larger than others.
Well, you're making me realize I'm doing a very bad job on mine, first of all. So thank you for the reminder that we did those. What was your New Year's resolution?
Wow.
I should know this.
It must be nice to feel heard.
Do you know mine? You don't know mine.
Probably to order less and just be less of an asshole.
You were gonna try all of the restaurants on the Hall of Fame, the LA Times Hall of Fame. That's right. I think I've accidentally actually done a little bit of that, but I need to be a little bit more regimented.
Yeah. You not being regimented, surprise, surprise. Well, I'll give you a refresher. I had a couple, but the one that I think was kind of the marquee goal, if you will, was that I was going to run my final marathon, and that I wanted it to be the New York Marathon, and that I was going to run it for charity. Well, I am pleased to announce that I was accepted as a runner with a charity for this year's New York Marathon, coming early November, I think. Would you like to hear what the charity is?
Wait, this is so exciting. Congratulations. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so I said I wanted to do something that was food or immigration related. I just about got there, okay? It's something that's, I think, very personal to me. I'm running for Soccer Without Borders, which is a Have you heard of that?
Love it. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I'll be honest, I had never heard of it before I applied, but I researched it before I applied, and I was like, this is perfect for me because they're a nonprofit org that uses soccer as a vehicle for positive change, providing underserved newcomer, refugee, and immigrant youth with year-round programming, and it helps them build community, foster belonging, and it also offers academic support to help them overcome barriers to growth, all through soccer, which you asked me not to talk about in intros, but I feel like this counts.
No. This counts. This is, first of all, I am realizing how funny it was that you made on this podcast a resolution to run a marathon, which is like kind of irrelevant. I guess it's what keeps you fit while you're eating 100 pizzas throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's relevant in that way. Yeah.
It's literally how I stay healthy for all you motherfuckers. So the only catch is that of course they gave me the option to raise $4,000, $6,000, or $8,000. Do you have a guess of what I chose?
4,000.
No, this isn't a shitty Yelp review. No, I'm an ambitious, generous man, so of course I chose $8,000.
Wait, so I'm confused. So you chose Soccer Without Borders as a charity.
Correct.
You now have to raise this money in order to run, or just like
so basically,
your running will raise money. Yeah.
So the way that it works is if you apply to a charity and you get selected for them, and basically in exchange for them giving you a spot on their New York like marathon roster, you have to raise money for that charity. So that's the exchange.
Okay.
So
got it.
You know, because I've got some listeners, I've got a little bit of a platform. I have some great ideas on how to fundraise, which we'll be announcing later on as we go through this journey. I went with 8,000. I was like, I want to do the max. You know, we're not afraid of big things on this podcast. We do big things.
There you go. I love it. I'm very curious to hear your fundraising strategies and critique them, frankly.
Basically, just it consists of getting my wife to just cold call everybody we know, like good or bad campaigns do.
Hold on, your wife is calling me. Unrelated. Very strange.
But actually, I mean, I will be dropping a link in the show notes, dear listener. So if you should feel so inclined, please go donate. We did get our first donation, $50, and it was from myself. But you need something to get the ball rolling.
You got me excited for a second. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just didn't want people to like click the link and be like, he's 0% of the way there. And then I realized, of course, 50% is less than what, or $50 is less than 1% of 8,000.
It's almost sadder in a way. That was really dumb. 0 is like, oh, there's all this opportunity. I could be the first in the door. Instead, there's like some sad less than 1% number that people are going to see.
Yeah, maybe it was a bad fundraising strategy. Regardless, the link is in the show notes, and we'll be announcing some fun ideas that I'll probably want to take Saul's temperature on before I roll out. Although I'm realizing now, all the ideas I have are things you would probably fucking hate.
I could guess that. Look, as long as they work, it doesn't matter. But I look forward to backseat driving the whole process.
That's true. Well, hey, let's jump into listener feedback. We got a couple from our last episode. First one was a Spotify comment from friend of the pod, Daniel Wargo, and he said that he is actually one of the 2 listeners who enjoys Champions League and NBA chat in addition to our regularly scheduled programming. Question for you, Saul. A, is that surprising? And B, who do you think listener number 2 is?
That's a great question. Not surprising. Daniel's a sports fan. I appreciate it. Shout out, Daniel. Good to know that one person is interested. Who would be the second listener? I don't know anyone else who listens to this podcast. It's not Emily. It's not Emily. I can tell you that.
Spoiler, our 2 listeners are Daniel and Emily. So actually we only have one listener who enjoys Champions League and NBA chat. Other listener feedback that we got was on Instagram, where I posted a clip about our discussion on whether fine dining is a cult or just culty. Somebody with the handle Dan Cox PR, who I assuming is somebody called Dan Cox who works in PR, commented, I couldn't disagree more. The cult brag on food social media is all about finding a good taco at a car wash or a good slice or a good burger that is eaten in the car, not dining at Providence. They are both experiences that appeal to a particular audience. Just because only one end of that spectrum appeals to you doesn't make the other any less valid. If there was no audience for it, there'd be no fine dining. Same with the taco stands. There's $40 cheese pizza in New York City now. Which category of dining does that fall under? Saul, does this argument hold water for you?
It's a fair point. Just that, like, it's not the cultishness of foodies is not limited to fine dining. It's also, and particularly maybe more prevalent in social media, hype influencer. I see the argument. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
I would also say, why not both? We can do both.
I was gonna say, like, it's possible for there to be more than one Colt in the world, and it doesn't make one better than the other.
I am compelled by the argument, though, that I think it's both. I was gonna say maybe it is actually more lean towards like the hot new slice or the viral bagel or whatever, because then you see the lines out the door and all that. To me, that's like a particular there's a cultishness to that. Fine dining is a different flavor, so to speak, of cult, but I think it also qualifies.
Yeah.
A smaller one too, I think, just due to economic constraints probably, but yeah, just as obnoxious, I would say.
Yeah, I think in general, just like food, us as food assholes, we're a bit of a cult, you know? The good news is...
Why are we assholes? Not
just I mean, like, people who have strong opinions on food,
yeah.
You know?
I will say over the course of doing this podcast, and I should say pretty immediately after we started, I immediately just feel embarrassed all the time to talk about food. Like, I just like, every time you talk about food, I'm like, I sound like such a glutton. And it's like, it's so corny. Like, you kind of ruined it for me. Not really, but like talking about it, like we used to we do and still have a lovely relationship around going for restaurants, but doing the podcast makes you like, it's like so navel gazy in a way. Right. And I'm like, and I can't believe Emily's not gotten the ick yet from these particular conversations.
Well, I actually talk about this with my wife all the time. Is it possible for your significant other to get the ick after you've tied the knot?
No, I hope not. I'm just going to say no, because that's what I want the truth to be.
Whenever she says that I'm doing something that is on the verge of giving her the ick, I'm like, you can't get the ick. We're married. And actually, this ties into our shitty Yelp review, which we're going to get to later. Anyways, let's move on. Recent eats. Saul, where you been eating recently?
So, been doing a lot of flying for work recently. And I'll say that if you are ever flying into or out of Seattle on Alaska Airlines, which if you are in LA and flying to Seattle, I think is probably one of the best options. At SeaTac, you will likely be flying into and out of Terminal N. That's like the Alaska Airlines terminal. It's kind of like a really new one, nice seating, very like good lighting, big windows, all that.
Is that N for Nixtamal or for Masa?
N for North.
Okay.
That's in the North terminal. At that terminal is a restaurant called Skillet. Skillet is a restaurant that's like in Seattle as well. You like go, it's kind of like a southerny comfort food. Like I'm pretty sure they still have like fried chicken and waffles and all that. My ritual is to go to Skillet, get the basic burger, no pickle, fries. And I got to tell you, it's probably the best airport food option. Like, I mean, the airports are upgrading. They're like more and more good airport food options. This one just hits the spot every time. It makes you feel safe before flying. The fries are excellent. That's really the key here. The burger's very good. The fries are perfect. And I'm very excited to go experience it again shortly.
You do this every time?
Not every time, but like if I make it with enough time to have a burger. And usually I'm flying out in the evening. Like I'm in the air during dinner time. So I want to like kind of get some food in my stomach before. Yeah, like it's often. It happens.
You know what? I applaud you because while every other food podcast in the country is talking about their recent dinner at Jacaranda by Daniel Patterson, we're here talking about SeaTac airport food. We keep it real.
This is what I have to offer.
Where have I been eating? Well, thank you for asking. I went to Lodge Bread in Culver City for the first time in a long, long time. And I have to say, while there's been a ton of hype in recent times about places like Bub and Grandma's, deserved hype because those places are awesome, it does mean we've kind of forgotten a little bit about how excellent places like Lodge Bread are. Lodge Bread was kind of Bub and Grandma's before Bub and Grandma's. So their bread, absolutely fantastic. Everything else on the menu, tremendous. They had this great like focaccia turkey sandwich, which I need to give a grade to and put on my spreadsheet. It was that good. And it just made me think like maybe next year when I'm no longer doing like countdowns, I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to like do burgers, pizza, and sandwiches and just keep upgrading the spreadsheet. It's instead of it just being one countdown, I'm just going to keep updating the spreadsheets I already have. Why is that a bad idea?
Sorry, I just sneezed like 3 times.
Also,
that's a really good idea.
The mics are really good because it didn't pick it up at all.
Well, I muted it before I started. Yeah. I'm smooth like that. No, first of all, I think where you should go after the countdown structure retires or whatever is basically nice UI, friendly user interface lists where you keep updating, right? And you can like make mini lists there too. I have like a website idea in mind already for you. Like it's like your big list for each one with the rankings changing, but you can also do like little little power rankings or like hottest new in the last 6 months, like you do on Instagram already. Yeah, I love that idea.
Okay,
that's a service. That's good.
Wow, that is probably the first time I've ever said an idea and you actually approved, so it feels good. Is this what it's like to have a father that's proud of you? Anyways, other place I've been eating, Romanaccia, a new Roman-style pizzeria right in Hollywood, actually not too far from where we used to work. Do you know that that like strip mall where Stout is?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's right next door to what I think Stout closed, so what was formerly known as Stout.
Stout closed?
Pretty sure Stout closed, bro. Yeah.
On Cahuenga?
Yeah, on Cahuenga. Yeah. Right on Cahuenga and Selma. And Romanaccia is brought to us by probably the most attractive man I've ever seen in my life. His name is also Luca. It sucks to be like no longer the most attractive Luca in LA food, which was a very specific title. But this guy is just so fucking hot. It's ridiculous.
Take note for our end of year awards. Don't forget.
Bro, this guy, honestly, Andrew and Evan should be quaking in their fucking boots because Luca looks like, he kind of looks like Aquaman, but like hotter.
Like Jason Momoa style?
Yeah, but like almost like Aquaman if Aquaman was a little like, if Jason Momoa also had some like pretty boy features, you know? It's kind of hard to explain. We'll have to go check him out sometime.
Luca can never meet my mom because I don't know if you know this, when Aquaman came out, I was in Florida with my mom and like my dad was traveling and my mom made me take her to see Aquaman just so she could look at him. Like she doesn't care at all about the story of the superhero Aquaman. She's like, I just want to look at this guy for 2 hours. Come with me. And I'm like, great.
I'm just picturing the conversation where your mom asked if it's okay if Aquaman is her hall pass. Anyways, Romanaccia, so they hired this really accomplished pizzaiolo to be the executive chef. He's this guy called Alessandro Scuderi in Turin. So he basically made their dough recipe and they did everything else. But it's a very, very solid Roman style dough. If you have been to Rome and you don't, triple beam doesn't quite do it for you and you're looking for that pizza al taglio, I highly recommend going to Romanaccia. And the last restaurant I want to shout out is that last night I went to Catch in West Hollywood for the first time. It's kind of been like a long time dream of mine for some reason, just because it's this like very like hyped place where you're always going to see celebrities and stuff, but I've never really had a reason to go. They invited me to go to check out their 10-year anniversary like special dishes and whatnot and their renovation. I don't know what it looked like before, but the renovation is fucking beautiful. I was like kind of very like pleasantly surprised with the food at Catch. I think it's just viewed as like this like celebrity restaurant, but hand to God, there was not one dish that was amiss that I had. And of course you can say, oh, Luca, they just, brought out the nice stuff for you. But I was looking around the tables, everybody was getting the same stuff and the food was solid. Sure, are you paying $49 for your lobster mafaldine? Yeah, you are. But you're also doing it to be in the heart of West Hollywood, surrounded by like celebrity and celebrity adjacent culture. And I feel like when I'm thinking about where to take a certain type of out of towner, Catch just entered the chat.
Ooh, interesting. Why would they bring you special things? You're not special. They brought out the big guns for Luca. I can't believe you said that.
Well, because they invited me to go. They invited me to go. You know what I mean? So like, they're not going to give me the shit. They're like, oh, we invited this guy. Let's spit in his fucking food. We're not going to do that.
Fair enough. I forgot. I didn't realize that there was a particular outreach. Very cool. Nothing wrong with look, celebrities like good food too.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes. Okay. Let's move on. Our big deal of the day today. It's another media episode, even though we did one just 2 episodes ago. But this week, the James Beard Foundation dropped its nominees for the 2026 Media Awards. And once again, LA had an extremely strong showing. Before we get into it, though, how does it feel, Saul, to be snubbed for the 3rd, if not 4th year in a row? At what point does this become a Leonardo DiCaprio pre-Revenant scenario?
It will never. This literally reminds me of the tweet. The haters said I couldn't do it, and honestly, they were right. Great call by the haters. No, that's not
true.
It would be it'll be a dark day should we ever get a nomination
for James Beard.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I was just going back and looking at our episode titles, and I'm just like, how did Q&A full of shit influencers not get a nomination, Or
is that a title?
Literally, yeah, from our last Q&A episode. It's called Clickbait. Learn about it. Well, hey, the LA Times scored in seriousness now. Let's talk about the lucky people in LA who did get nominated. So, LA did especially well in the journalism awards. The LA Times scored 2 nominations in the dining and travel category. Friend of the pod, Bill Addison, got one for his epic guide to the 101 best restaurants in California, which he actually came on this podcast to give an interview about. The LA Times food editor, Daniel Hernandez, notched the other one for his piece headlined "The Myths and Realities of Gentrification in Mexico City, Should You Still Visit?" which I believe we discussed.
Yep, we did.
And in the investigative reporting category, Daniel Lopez, who I think has bylines in both Capital and Maine and the LA Times, was nominated for 3 pieces titled "California's Child Farm Workers Exhausted." Oh, I thought that was the whole title. That would have been fucking legendary. No, it's "California's Child Farm Workers Exhausted, Underpaid, and Toiling in Toxic Fields. LAX Oversight, Few Inspections Leave Child Farm Workers Exposed to Toxic Pesticides." So we can see he's got a specific beat. And then actual friend of the pod, Stephanie Brejo, was nominated for the Jonathan Gold Local Voice Award for her pieces. "These street vendors use their aguas frescas to fight tear gas at anti-ICE protests, follow the red sauce to Burbank's best Italian deli, and after the Eaton fire, Burn A restaurant closed for good. This weekend, it's reborn as Betsy." So that was in the journalism category. Other sort of LA adjacent shouts: Phil Rosenthal was nominated for Best Travel Media for his Netflix show Somebody Feed Phil. He'll of course have to beat Italy's favorite son Stanley Tucci for that honor. Good luck with that, Mr. Rosenthal. The LA Times Studios scored a nomination for Best Commercial Broadcast Media for their short film, The Theory of Spice. I watched it this morning. Very good stuff. And then not LA, but I wanted to shout these out. Friend of the pod, Ryan Sutton, was nominated in the category of columns and newsletters for his wonderful Substack, The Low Times. And then former guest Allison Roman was nominated in the general cookbook category for her latest book, Something from Nothing, a Cookbook. So, any of these nominations particularly titillate you?
Well, they all do. This is like this is different from the James Beard nominations for restaurants, where it's like, ooh, like where we got into a bunch of restaurants and we're like, ooh, I don't know about this one, but oh, I really think this one should get recognition, and this one's been on the list for a while. Media is just highlighting great work that's been done this year. So no, I will say I think it was a particularly notable year for LA media, given the various crises, frankly, that struck the city. And the great reporting that followed. So good to see the recognition across the board, both for your traditional, food journalism or restaurant reviews work like Bill's 101 Best Restaurants in California, as well as the investigative work and Stephanie's pieces on, how the city's responding to various challenges.
Yeah, no, that's actually what I was going to ask you, right? Like, I feel like in recent years, LA tends to crush these media awards at the nominations level. In fact, I think last year our episode in which we discussed this was the James Beard Loves LA Media or something like that. They love everybody except us, of course. Now, is this a factor of us having badass reporters, or is it the fact that LA has had and tends to have, frankly, it seems like every year, just some like tremendously bad shit happen to us? Or if not bad shit, like momentous shit. And our reporters, our like core of reporters across outlets, seem to be particularly good at drawing the connection between food and those broader societal events. Is it just both those things?
It's both those things, of course. Yeah. So obviously the quality of reporting talent is first and foremost. But then I do think there is something to LA kind of being on like the bleeding edge of a lot of kind of issues. I mean, one, I think it's a city that still is one of the most interesting food wise, more generally in the United States. But two, yes, it seems to be a place where a lot of things kind of come to a head. While issues related to labor or immigration or even natural disasters are not limited to just LA, I think there's something about, it's kind of like the California, isn't there like a saying like as California goes, so goes the nation? It's almost like, well, it feels like that.
The one that my poli-sci professor, shout out Dan Schnur, used to like to say is, when California sneezes, the rest of the nation catches a cold.
That's right. This is a little bit different from that, but a similar sort of idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And what's funny is like the LA Times seems to do that a lot, and they're often maligned as a bit of a dying publication, including by us. yet they seem to constantly come up.
All right. Wait, I don't talk shit about the LA Times.
Well, okay, maybe not like maligned, but we've talked about like their layoffs and shit and been like,
right,
like a lot of times we've talked about negative headlines with respect to the LA Times. But when it comes to these awards, it seems like every year they come up trumps. Like they're always scoring nominations. It's kind of notable, I think, that the LA Times scored 5 nominations while the New York Times walked away with a big fat 0. Now, was that just because was it just a good year for the LA Times, or maybe is the LA Times just kind of good at playing this like James Beard bait game?
Well, I don't know how that game is played, so I don't know if I can speak to whether or not LA Times is
we
good
sure as fuck
it.
Don't know how it's played.
That's right. So I mean, I don't know. It's possible, and I also don't read every single story that comes out of the New York Times's food section. We obviously keep an eye out for reviews from Tejal and Ligaya and the team there. But I don't know. Maybe it's the case that no, the New York Times has great food reporting. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why.
No, especially like last year with like Tejal and Ligaya coming on. Maybe maybe it was like a little new or something. They want to give them a chance to get their feet under them. But if I'm thinking, okay, this is not a great barometer, but I'm thinking back because I do this every week, right? I look at I think I look at all of the food outlets. We're going to talk about that in a second, and I make like a list of the ones that I think are worth discussing, like who's writing the meatiest stuff. And the New York Times, I think, has been writing by far the meatiest stuff over the course of the last year, at least in terms of like discussion-worthy topics. So it did surprise me that they got 0. I think that the tide is turning a little bit at the New York Times. And with that crop of new reporters, obviously the Pete Wells era ended. They had their interim era. Now that Tejal and Ligaya are fully on board, they also announced Ryan Sutton and other more like part-time critics. I don't know. I think I could see the tide turning big time next year, like New York Times sweeping. But in the meantime, LA's doing a great job. And speaking of the LA Times, those like investigative pieces by Daniel Lopez were just completely new to me. Honestly, like hold my hands up. I'd never even heard of Daniel Lopez. I'm sure like he's very accomplished, but it's just not the topic that we typically discuss here. I was wondering, do you think we should discuss those kinds of topics? Do you think people would be interested in them?
I don't know. They are really important conversations. I mean, we can discuss anything. Like we can chat about it. It does seem more focused on, I haven't read the pieces in detail, so I'm also just going off headline, maybe less tied to restaurant outcomes themselves, more so versus like agriculture, where I think like, and labor would be the topics there.
Yeah.
Certainly want it on our radar, though. Capital in Maine is a good outlet, and possibly one that slipped through the cracks, given it's not like necessarily food front and center, right?
Yeah, and same with Civil Eats, which scored 5 nominations, and they're an outlet I don't think we've ever talked about. Like, I don't think we've once done a Civil Eats story, which I think is actually a huge blind spot for us.
Yep.
I mean, I honestly hadn't even, if you asked me, what does Civil Eats cover? I'm not sure I would have been able to tell you succinctly. So they describe themselves as a news source for critical thought about the American food system. And the recent headlines, just from what I saw this morning, were things like WIC cuts proposed funding, I guess, as USDA makes changes to food aid office, inside a historic Supreme Court case on pesticide risks, and betting on whole grain baking. I mean, sounds maybe a little bit dry for this obviously like fun podcast. We're so fun. But like, I might quite like, are we too stupid to discuss these, or is it just like it's not really our thing? I think there are some that we could discuss, like on Civil Eats, and we should probably do a better effort of.
Have it on the radar, check it. I think some of it was probably, I mean, it's heavy stuff, but we want to boost media.
Yeah, maybe we try it out. It's like a test of how smart our listeners are,
or how smart we are.
Well, we know that. We know that we're not going to bring any nuance to the conversation. Notable absence from the nominees. For the first time I can remember since we started covering the media awards, Eater scored 0 nominations. Now, do you think that's further proof of their demise, or is it just a bad year? Do you think it's a conscious effort by the voting body to not want to reward a media corporation that increasingly feels like the villain? What's going on there?
Well, the thing that's most relevant is that if like it seems like they're taking a big step back from their more media reporting. They've let go of the folks like Jaya and others who kind of like would write those pieces just to zoom in on lists and reviews, I think, or more like ride along. I don't know. Like it's more about the experience and less about deep reporting. Now that there are still great reporters at Eater, and I think specifically at the local regional level, I think they might still do pieces like that. But it seems like their priority isn't those kinds of pieces, at least from what I can tell. I mean, I think it's even notable. Like we talk about Eater pieces way less.
We do. Like, I mean honestly,
way less.
So Eater LA used to be a huge source for us because there were boots on the ground, like doing some really important work from like a news breaking perspective. And now when you go to the Eater website, it's literally just dining reports, which not that interesting to talk about. Maybe useful for people to like go and be able to get a firsthand account on what it's like to dine at a specific restaurant before they make a reservation, but not like I don't want to necessarily go and talk about like what Rebecca Rowland thought of Max and Helen's, which we literally did, by the way. But that's just because it caused a little bit of controversy, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, like on the front page of Eater LA today is this interesting piece, which is more analysis about how Los Angeles' bar problem is sprawl, meaning that LA is not lacking in good bars; it's lacking concentration. That's an interesting piece to me.
Yeah.
It's not like I recall more like deeper investigative and like more broader trend deep reporting pieces in the past. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'm actually kind of like realizing in real time, like Eater used to be, we'd probably talk about an Eater piece like almost every episode to some extent. Yeah. And then I just feel like it's really dropped off of our agendas.
It really has. It really has. Do you read or do you subscribe to Matthew Kang's newsletter, Kangtown?
Yeah, I do.
That's actually good. Like, I feel like, and there is a columns and newsletters category for the James Beard Awards. I have a feeling like next year, Kangtown could be in with a shout for it. It's just, I think it was probably too new to include this year. But I don't know, that newsletter category, I think is going to be so competitive because Substack, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think we see it over and over. I think a lot of folks have shifted there. I mean, Ryan Sutton, he was, I would say, a little bit more than a newsletter, but it was sort of that model, right? Go to Substack, do some great writing, and yeah, it's gonna be a knockout, like a battle royale for food newsletters, I think.
Am I hearing that we're gonna start a Substack?
You already started one.
I did. It was too much fucking work, man. Too much fucking work.
R.I.P.
Yeah, it was too much work. I'd love to do it again. But honestly, like we're going to talk about this. It feels like every week there's a new Substack in Los Angeles. So it's getting increasingly difficult to carve a lane that feels unique and additive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the question, I think, like for people trying to get into that game right now. It's like, what am I adding to the conversation other than just like my voice, which, yeah, my voice is important. We all know that. But, you know, I'm just joking. It's not that important. Okay. I want to quickly just talk about the people who got nominated for Best Social Media Creators because I just want to know, what can I do to be better? Okay. There are 3 creators. One is called Day with May. The other one is called Made by Musashi. And the last one is called Michael Ligier. I don't know how he pronounces his name. The first 2 are cooking accounts. Noted. They go for cooking. The third one is a guy who travels and reviews restaurants. That feels like there is a lane there for a James Beard Award from a content creation perspective. Now, what do you notice when you look at Michael's page?
Let me pull it up. Let's see. Better looking than you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nice production.
Yep.
I enjoy looking at this versus looking at your face. Ooh, Kato's on here. Let me give that a click.
Yeah.
Great production. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's the production value.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It looks great.
This is honestly, I looked at it today and I was like, yeah, I think I should just quit. Like it
seems more charismatic than you. Okay. Yeah, I see the difference. Yeah.
We can maybe stop there. No, but the production value is huge. But you know, I feel like your boy should get a nomination at some point.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised. It's kind of shocking that he's not here.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That he's like the number one. By the way, I should say I watch Made by Musashi and so does my sister. Huge fans. They
really?
Like great channel. Yeah. Like it's just one of those like he cooks in like at a higher, because I like watching my YouTube cooks to like actually learn stuff and like apply it. He's at another level, but it's just really cool to watch his stuff and like very sort of calming. Great creator there.
Is it like ASMR? Like what's calming about it?
Not it's not pure ASMR, but he's so he's like he works in high level restaurants, and I think the thing that hooked me initially was him and his girlfriend or fiance, I don't know if I'm getting it right. His girlfriend would like, here's what my chef boyfriend cooks for himself when he gets home, and it was just like he would whip up these home cooked meals that were like next level,
nice,
right? Because he had like all like the homemade stocks and like the organization. What gets me is his organization is crazy. I don't know why I'm like just fangirling over this guy right now, but it is just super fun to watch.
Yeah, fair. The like tacit thing you just said is that mine are not fun to watch, and I heard it. Okay, look, congratulations to all the nominees. We'll be following with anxious excitement to see who wins. Are you down for a quick round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss?
When am I ever not?
That's true. One time I just want you to be like, fuck no, do it yourself.
See you later. I just hang up immediately.
And then I just ask myself questions. That'd be really fun. James Beard nominee Stephanie Brazier reports that Enrique Olvera is opening a new seafood-focused restaurant called San Damian in Venice this summer, taking over the former Atlas space with a menu centered on ceviches, fish tacos, mariscos, agave cocktails, and fresh masa dishes inspired by Mexico's Pacific Coast and California ingredients. The project will be led by the team behind Damian, of course, and the article also notes that Atlas' Venice and New York locations have both closed, with Olvera saying the all-day cafe concept ultimately wasn't the right fit, and that San Damian represents a more carefully developed next chapter for the group. Oh, San Damian coming to Abbot Kinney in the former Atlas space this summer. Chef's Kiss or Big Miss?
Can't wait to go.
I'm excited.
I mean, come on. Yeah. This is the easiest Chef's Kiss.
Honestly, I was just so excited about it. I want to talk about. Loretto has gotten me into a massive Mariscos kick. Sit down Mariscos. Yeah, I love a Mariscos truck, but the idea of being able to sit on Abbot Kinney, getting lightly toasted on some cervezas and ceviches, and then walking over to the ocean, I mean, that's a perfect afternoon.
Yeah, it will happen. We will do that.
Yeah. Huge Chef's Kiss. Okay, food reporter Kelly Dobkin launched her Substack Of All Places LA, which she's framing as a deeply personal, community-driven newsletter focused on celebrating Los Angeles restaurants, not just as places to eat, but as vital third spaces and cultural institutions. Dobkin says that LA's unmatched diversity of cuisines, neighborhood food cultures, and restaurant experiences made her want to create a platform that feels more intimate, credible, and emotionally connected than traditional food criticism. She says it's a response to the fragile state of restaurant media and an embrace of old school food writing values, strong reporting, real expertise, industry, community, and enthusiasm over takedowns or negativity. So, enthusiasm over negativity on the internet. Chef's Kiss or Big Miss?
I literally just subscribed. You know what's interesting about this? I immediately thought of The Angel and the void the Angel left. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a little bit different, but a little bit similar, I think. And yeah, you talked about like the crowdedness of Substack.
Yeah.
I think this might have just swooped in for a gap that just kind of appeared in the space.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Kelly. I've read a lot of her pieces in the various publications that she's written for in the past, and I know she's an excellent reporter. So very interested to see what life this takes. I think Of All Places is a fantastic name for a Substack, and the pieces she's dropped so far are exciting. I mean, she went to Jacaranda like everybody else did except us, and in her newsletters, actually, she's dropped quite a few interesting like nuggets that I kind of felt like news breaking to me. So she's clearly someone with her ear to the ground. So an interesting mix of having something to say and having access. So pretty excited for this one.
I'm psyched.
How many Substacks do you pay for?
I only how many subscriptions do I have? Count? Not many. I'm pretty particular. I actually just went through and like kind of cleaned some out and added some new ones. Sean Fennessy from The Ringer now has a Substack called Projections that I immediately subscribed to. Of All Places LA. I might be stepping back from Feed Me. And like I had that for a minute, but I don't really. I think I did for a monthly, like a month-to-month thing, and I just it's a cool thing, but I just don't. It doesn't apply to me all that much. And of course, my boy Rob Martinez, and that's all I got. Yeah.
However, will Emily Sundberg survive without your subscription? I just don't know. Yeah. All right, next though, and this is actually something I got from Of All Places in the volume 1 that dropped on Monday, or whenever it dropped. But she said that this Monday at Frogtown's Salazar, there will be a pop-up for the ages featuring New York's Superiority Burger, Echo Park's Quarter Sheets, Diego Argotti's Estrano Things, and then something called Les Canals de l'Argua, which I'm not familiar with, but if it's on the level of everything else, I'm sure it bangs. Saul, does this all-star lineup sound like a too good to fail chef's kiss or a Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Brooklyn Nets attempted super team big miss? Thank you for letting me make one NBA reference.
What do you think, man? This sounds fucking awesome. Now, look, pop-ups are... No, I'm psyched. Actually, I gotta go to this.
Yeah.
I just want to...
Do you want to go?
See it. Yeah, why not?
We're going. I'm super excited. But I also realized, Diego has been doing Estrano Things pop-ups, and just I've never been able to go. I haven't actually had his food since like the night he closed Poltergeist, which is so sad.
Too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Too long. Okay, we'll be there on Monday night, so come and say hi if you're around, dear listener. Last one for you. Reporter Lena Abascal, who makes for a really fun food and culture follow on Instagram, posted a story earlier this week that raises an important question. She was at Minetta Tavern, the storied New York institution, when this happened to her, and she writes, "I cannot stop thinking about this couple in workout clothes and Apple Watches who came into Minetta and plopped their Harry Potter branded workout water bottle on the bar. Shivers! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. They ordered a really expensive steak and only drank water, and their vibe was so bad I had to leave ASAP." So, my question for you. The audacity to plot Harry Potter branded workout water bottles on one of New York's most storied bars, ordering an expensive steak in workout clothes, and gasp Apple Watches, a big miss of unthinkable proportions, or a man I wish I knew what it was like to be that free? Chef's kiss.
I don't I don't know why she's so mad about this. I mean, look, yeah, it's like poking fun at people or whatever, kind of like being judgmental while people watching. I wouldn't, is what I'll say. I wouldn't be the one with the Harry Potter water bottle or workout clothes at a restaurant. I don't think. Nothing wrong with drinking just water. You just worked out, right?
Yeah.
Who wants you're like, you'd be going back, get some protein, right? Get some muscle synthesis going. After
I'm not gonna lie.
Lifting.
I fucking love this, dude. I think this is the ultimate power move. You know what this is, right? They just went to their like Barry's boot camp or whatever, and we're like, we really need some protein. Where are we gonna get it? Let's just get a $170 porterhouse steak at the Minetta Tavern bar. What a fucking power move.
Yeah. I can see how the vibe did not match those of the other patrons in there. But hey, yeah, if you can do it, do it.
Dude, this is honestly like aspirational in my opinion. All right, that brings us home for today. Short episode, but you know what? I think everybody's okay with that. They can have more time this weekend. Do you have a shitty Yelp review for us?
I should have. One sec. Let me think.
Emily's probably
been awesome.
Wow.
The thing is, I've been traveling, so I don't.
Yeah, we lost you for a second there, bud.
Yeah. What happened? New recording. Oh fuck. My microphone did a thing, I think.
No worries.
Is that easy to fix? You do just like, I would say cut, you do your shitty.
Okay. I'll just do my shitty Yelp review since Saul's microphone crapped out. My shitty Yelp review is this. So I don't know if you listeners obviously can't see this because this is primarily an audio medium, but I'm sporting a mustache right now, which sometimes is more pronounced if I don't have other fuzz on my face. And my wife let me know that she hates it. Basically, she's just like, I don't like it. I'm not attracted to you while you have the mustache. It's just not my thing. I personally really like it. I think it I don't know why. It looks good on my face, I think. The thing is, next Friday, we're leaving for our much delayed honeymoon to Italy. And I'm in this conundrum right now where I'm wondering whether I should keep the mustache because I like it, or if I should lose it because for a woman to go on a honeymoon with a man she's not attracted to feels inherently wrong. And I don't know what the right call is. So I'm on the verge of a shitty Yelp review. Maybe I just need some guidance.
Yeah, well, maybe we should do Therapy Corner. I feel like we've done shitty Yelp review for years now. We need a new segment.
Like where we just get advice from each other?
Yeah. Like we ask each other a question and the other person has to give advice. Look,
blind leading the blind.
Right. First of all, before I dive into feedback, like the guidance, why don't wives like mustaches? I'm in the same exact scenario where I love it when I actually down to the mustache. I think it look really cool.
I think so too.
Emily hates it. She's
really?
Like, I just don't. She doesn't say like, oh, I'm not attracted to you, but she's probably thinking it.
Yeah.
It's like it's not. And I'm like, I've never looked more like mature and handsome. I don't know what the deal is. So maybe it's a shitty Yelp review for wives everywhere who don't support mustaches. That's the review. Yeah,
I like that.
Passing the buck. That's what we do best.
I think that's what's called gaslighting, actually, is what it's called.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Gaslighting corner. There you go.
Gaslighting corner.
You should probably shave the mustache for your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Be a good husband.
Fair enough. Okay, I will. Well, we'll see. I haven't done it yet, so I might yet earn a shitty Yelp review for not doing it. We shall see. Well, you have a few weeks off after this, actually. We're not going to see or hear from you probably till June. So what are you going to do with all your time off?
Oh, my God. Achieve all my dreams. Finally have time to, actually enjoy life instead of doing homework and talking to you. No, I'm excited to hear what happens in the interim. Yeah.
Yep. You're welcome. I'm excited to hear what happens in the interim. I don't have a plan for it yet. We'll figure it out. Well, thanks as always. Have a safe flight, brother.
Yeah. See you later.
Peace out. Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guests for making the time for us. As always, we'll be back with another epic episode next week, but if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Thread, YouTube, even our website at the LA Countdown. You can also find us on Instagram at It's Acquired Taste and at acquiredtastemedia.com. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please consider going to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating or review, even a follow. That really helps us. It means the world to us. Thank you so much in advance. Before we wrap, a quick reminder that this episode was brought to you by our friends at mva.wine. If you want to learn more, go back and listen to episode 167 of this podcast dated February 27th of 2026, where I sat down with the founders. They really give you a look inside why this is a special place to find and drink your wine. If you want to discover some truly incredible wines you won't find in stores, check them out at mva.wine/subscribe. Let's drink together, dear listener. Enjoy.